House of MGTOW. I started living on my own effective immediately after my now ex-partner, the mother of my children, had left, and I was going through a very rough time, probably the roughest time in my life, and everything was chaotic. I started to get all the recordings that I had. I mean, I still have some that I haven't transcripted, but the ones that I felt they were extremely important, I had transcripted. I had hardly any sleep, and it was a very dark time in my life. When the dust started to settle and I realized that I was starting to become short on money, I put an advertisement on Gumtree for shared accommodation. The house that I have is a 3-bedroom house, so I thought, why not? A little bit of extra cash, it'll help. And I had a few people messaged me, a few people called me, and it was very interesting because I didn't have any males message me. Males just called me, and one particular female had actually asked me if there was any males that were staying in the house. She wanted to know about some things regarding who stays there. I actually did have. I put my name in the actual advertisement, and my name is it's a male name, and for some reason she asked me if any males stay there. Maybe she thought that I was just the owner of the house. I don't know, but I explained to her that I stay at the house, and she didn't like that. So that kind of taught me something about female nature. Something really not that important at the time. I didn't feel it was that important at the time anyway. I ended up having a male that came to stay at the house who's still here. He's been here for over a year, and I will call him Mr. S. Mr. S came to the house on the very first day. He freaked me out. Now, the first thing that he did, I told him not to, as in I didn't want him to, but he decided to fully scrub the kitchen. Obviously I had let it go. I hadn't even slept properly for 3 months at least. But anyway, he cleaned out all the cupboards, the fridge, the microwave, the stovetop, the oven, everything. He made the kitchen brand new. I told him, look mate, I really appreciate it. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to charge you for 1 week's rent. And he told me, there's no way I'm not going to pay you for that 1 week's rent. I'm definitely paying you, and if you don't accept it, I will really be upset. And so we kept going with regards to the rent the way he wanted to. I didn't want to upset him. He has real good morals, good ethics, and he's a gentleman. When we started to talk about domestic violence with regards to our past relationships, I told him a little bit of what happened with me. He started to bring up what had happened to him, and he told me how he had actually been sleeping in his car for about 4 days, and he had marks on his back from the beatings that he received from his now ex-wife. She had called the police on him after beating him. He jumped in the car, took off. He spoke to her brothers. He told them what had occurred. So they were he put them in a picture and explained to them and showed them the marks that he had on his back. They told him, it's a good thing that you've done this. Look, don't go back to the house. The police are there. And he knew straight away that at that point there's no way that he's going back. So he made a wise decision. He has no kids from his now ex-wife. He's been living here since. Mr. S had left a volatile situation. She tried to trick him. She hit him. She abused him. He took off. She expected him to come back, and he played his cards right, and he did not do that. And I did hear him speak to her on the phone a couple of times when she rang him, begging him to go back, and he didn't go back. Now, I ended up saying to myself, look, I've still got one more room, you know. I reposted an advertisement, the advertisement, and I had this female that said, look, you know, I'm really interested. I think I'd take the room. I just want to see the room. I said, look, no problem. Come around, have a look. And I was in the garage. Now, my garage faces the road. I had the roller door up. It was a nice day. I'm on my laptop. And I can't remember what I was doing, if I was watching videos on YouTube, if I was writing something. Honestly, can't remember. But about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes later, this female rocks up. And she can see me that I'm on the laptop. She recognised, you know, that she knew it was me, the guy that owns the house or whatever. So she's beeping, and she's beeping with one hand and waving her hand with the other, like, oh, hi. And like, I'm like, hi. And she's like, hi. I mean, she's thinking that I'm going to run out, and, you know, she was good looking, but I mean, you're talking about a man here that's woken up and, I mean, snapped out of this man-slave mentality. And she beeped for the third time. I'm like, look, you know, you can come down. Come and have a look. She's like, oh, come on, I just want to tell you something. I'm like, no, you can come down. So she did come down. Obviously, she didn't like it. I said, look, the room's upstairs. If you want me to, I can go up there. I can show you the room. If you want, you can go up by yourself. Anyway, I walked up. I showed her where the room was. I showed her the room itself. And she liked the room. She said to me that she'll get back to me. I said, not a problem. About half an hour later, I received a phone call from a man that I'll call Mr. J. Now, he said to me, look, I need a room. I'm desperate. I've been sleeping in the park, in my car. And if you have the room available, please, I really need a room. I'm like, look, you can come down, have a look at it. If you like it, it's yours. He goes, look, I don't care. I need a room. I'm taking it. Please, hold it for me. Now, during the time that, in between the time that he was coming to the house, after I had spoken to him, after he had called me, and actually arrived to the house, that female rang me. And she said to me, look, I'll take the room. I said to her, no, the room's taken now. And she said, okay, no worries. She got a bit bitter, and she hung up that phone call. Mr. J came to the house. He actually loved the room. And I realised that he had a lot of bags in his car. I helped him take the stuff upstairs. And he started to talk to me about his abusive relationship. He'd been staying in his car for about 2 weeks. He had a Honda Civic. And he talked to me about all the abuse he received. And he has 3 children by his now ex-wife. And he told me about how she had been married twice before him, and I explained to him how that's a red flag and you got to avoid females like that. And here I was thinking that I'm the Mr. Know-it-all at the time. I was just trying to help him out, but it's not like you can reverse the hands of time and fix these kind of things. But I mean, it's totally wrong, even for a blue pillar to get married to a woman. It's already been married 2 times in the past, and she's got kids by her 2 exes. She's obviously the abuser. Now, Mr. J ended up meeting a few other females during his stay here. It was strictly, I told these guys, look, it's just, you can't bring any females to this house, because I didn't want, for example, if Mr. J had brought a female and they were making noise, I don't want Mr. S to experience any irritating noises, whatever. Just don't bring females for that kind of thing, you know what I mean? But Mr. J, he did end up making some female friends, and the cycle of abuse started again for Mr. J. And he ended up meeting this female that was very, very clingy. And she would come to my house even when he wasn't here. She told me how she comes past to see if his car's here. Has he changed the car? Has he sold the car? Has he got a new car? And things as such as that. Mr. J ended up leaving the country because his brother offered him to come and work overseas in Dubai, and it took him about a month to make up his mind because he was going through a lot of dramas with his now ex-wife. But he ended up leaving. This female, still till, I'm not going to say now, but the last time she came here was about about 3 weeks ago, and she was asking about him and was like, you know, I don't know. She's like, oh, did you know that he went to Dubai? And I had told her at the time, I honestly didn't know that. But sorry, I forgot to say that he had actually left. He had left about 3 months ago. He'd left 3 months ago and lived with his friend elsewhere. But she kept pursuing him. And about 3 weeks ago, she came to my house and was asking about him, and she was telling me about how he had left to Dubai, and I explained to her how I didn't know that he had left to Dubai. And she went into the house. I had freshly painted the house. About 2 days later, after painting the house, she's in the kitchen, and Mr. S has come down, and he's looked at her, and she's looked at him. She's trying to tell us, oh, look, guys, you can do this, you can do that to the house. Why don't you guys get a piece of aluminium foil and put it near the fry pan on the wall? Mind you, I had just painted the house. You know, you can do with a woman's touch to this house. And Mr. S just went off at her, and he explained to her that she should stop abusing us and stop telling us what to do. He also said to her that this is a man's house, and that what we do in this house is none of her business. I was really proud of him, and he freaked me out. I didn't expect that out of him. And she put her head down, she left, she took off. And since Mr. J had taken off, I had another male that moved into this house who goes by the name of Mr. T. Mr. T, yeah. Mr. T had been speaking to a female before he had moved into this house. Mind you, Mr. T, he hadn't come out of an abusive relationship, but he was living somewhere else, shared accommodation it was, and when he was staying in his previous place, he was talking to this female. And when he made his transition from the previous place to this house, he was still talking to that same female. Now, during his stay at this house, he busted her talking to other guys and messaging other guys. I explained to him that I thought, in my opinion, that she was looking for the best catch. Now, he forgave her for some reason. I told him that's a ridiculous thing to do. But he forgave her, and she ended up coming to my house with her mother from an area that would be about 60 kilometres away from this property, where we stay, that is, at this MGTOW house. And I found out during this conversation that the mother of this female had divorced her ex-husband, who is the father of this young female that's now in my property. And Mr. T's there, and we're all having this conversation, and she's talking about how she's left her ex-husband, blah blah blah. Now this was a red flag within itself to me. And I'm like, damn man, I hope Mr. T knows what he's getting himself into. And when Mr. T went outside with this young female to have a chat, a private conversation with her outside at the front of the house, mind you, the mother of this female said to me, "Has Mr. T been working? What has he been up to?" And I told her, "Yeah, he's been working." She's like, "Oh, how much does he pay rent?" And I'm like, "I mean, I don't know if I should tell you." And she's like, "Oh, I just want to know how much he pays rent." So I told her how much he pays rent, and I actually committed a white lie, and I said, "Look, this guy's paid that much rent ahead. I mean, he's a hard worker, and he's a really top bloke. I mean, I've never had anybody pay me rent up front. He hasn't only paid a bond up front of 4 weeks. He's actually paid me 2 months rent in advance." And this lady, she was freaked out, like, "Whoa, this guy's good. Mr. T's good. This guy will be good for my daughter." And she ended up taking off with her daughter. They ended up going home. Mr. T came. I told him what happened. I explained to him exactly what she said to me, what was said, and how I responded. And the beauty about it was that Mr. T's friend, who I ended up knowing through Mr. T, was actually there. I forgot to mention that. He was actually there. I'll call him Mr. F. Mr. F was actually there. And so that was good, because if Mr. T wasn't sure, and if he thought that I was player hating or whatever, he had Mr. F to confirm what I was saying. And that opened up Mr. T's eyes quite a lot, because it just confirmed what I was telling him before about how she's just a gold digger, and how her mother is also a part of this strategy where she's just trying to get the best catch for her daughter. Anyways, Mr. T is not talking to her anymore, and that's actually a good thing. I'm not going to say he's a red pill MGTOW. I'm not even going to say he's a red pillar at all. He'd probably be a purple pillar, but he's starting to understand female nature, and he's actually learning about a lot of other things, about how men are looked at as nothing but mere utilities and drones and things as such. Recently, in the last few months, we've been gathering on Friday evenings or Saturdays in the garage, and been having the roller door down. It's been a bit cold. We'll grab the heater, put it on, get the table, put it in the center, grab these chairs. We play a game of hearts. It's also known as a game of 400, and we just have a ball, crack jokes. Yeah, we do talk about our issues. We have a laugh. Sometimes they get a bit serious, not too serious, obviously, but they are serious conversations. We learn off each other, and we do give each other advice. I mean, I know about the system. In my opinion, I know a lot more than these other guys about the system and its misandric laws. But we are learning from each other, and I truly believe that we as a house of men also have a much better understanding of society, how it is a gynocentric system. And yeah, so far that's where we are in this MGTOW house.